Today I am giving you the first and most important step towards your journey to wealth. If you don't have this step, it's going to be super hard, long journey to wealth. And this is changing our mentality. And my metaphor for this is you can't get angry when you go to an orange tree and you want to cut an apple. No, if you want apples, you got to plant an apple tree. So the same thing goes with wealth. We can't be wealthy if we have a mindset of a poor person. And what is the poverty mindset? Well, I'll give you some few examples in a minute, but if we're thinking like a victim, we're thinking about poverty and scarcity, we can't expect wealth. If our attitude toward a wealthy person is hate, envy, jealousy, judgment, how do we expect to be a part of that group? And so that is how it all starts with the head. It all starts with our emotions, our opinions about wealth. There are a lot of reasons that poor people are held back, and it's because of our thoughts. And so that was one example about how we feel about wealthy people. And also, what is our attitude about money itself? What's holding us back? Like, say, maybe do you fear that if you have millions of dollars in the bank, do you fear that people are only going to want you for your money? That's an obstacle right there. That's a holdback. Or do you fear that if you have so much wealth that you might be taken for hostage and then gotta pay a ransom? What about the fear of feeling guilty that there's so many people starving out there, suffering poverty, and here you are living a lavish lifestyle? So those have some logic to them, but they're senseless, because it's better to be suffering in wealth than to be suffering in poverty. And how are we being any useful by staying poor? At least rich people are useful when they contribute to charities, right? Or they're not a burden to the society. So you gotta change that mentality of how wealth can bring problems. And also, how did we grow up? Did we get educated by our parents in a bad way? Like, I remember growing up, I was afraid to ask for anything, because anytime I asked for money or for a toy or anything from the store, it's like, no seas pediche, which means stop asking for things. And so I just grew up with that attitude that asking for things is bad, that I cause pity if I ask for something. But then you gotta remember that God, our creator, is almighty and all-powerful, and he wants to give us everything that we ask for, as long as it doesn't hurt yourself or anybody else. So we can ask freely from our creator, and he has no limits. He is all-powerful. So don't be afraid to ask. Forget what your mom, I just forgot what my mom said. Okay. She had that poverty mindset, and I'm not taking it on myself. No. What else? You gotta work to pay the bills. That's another mindset that gets passed on from our parents. Why not say we're working to reach our financial freedom? Who wants to work just to pay bills? How unmotivating. That's another thing. Scarcity mindset. We grow up, or poor people grow up with that mentality that money is limited. So we earn, say, $1,000 a month. That's our paycheck. And that's all we have for the rest of our life, or at least for until next month. That's limited. There are no limits in this world, but we set our own limits. And we have to change that into, I am a money generator. I'm the one that makes the money. Another thing that we don't know how to do is we don't know how to receive. You gotta swallow that pride, put it aside, and someone wants to pay you. Get the money. Take it. Like the other day, somebody gave me a ride home. I wanted to give that person $20. And he was like, no, don't pay me. I'm fine. Yo estoy bien. I'm okay. All right. So he just would not take the money. That person was poor and he didn't know how to receive. Even though he did a service, he didn't know how to receive. Yes, he was very kind, but you gotta know how to receive money. You can't just be saying, I'm fine, I'm doing it out of kindness. You gotta charge for your services. Because next time I need a ride, I'm not gonna tell him to give me a ride because he's not gonna take my money. Yeah, and I know he does it for a living too. So what kind of business is that? No, you wanna be able to take that money, receive it, and that way that you give the pleasure to the other person of giving, because it's both ways. The person that is paying you and giving you that money, they have pleasure in doing it, and you should have pleasure in receiving it too. That's another poverty mindset right there. And if you're going to start a business, you don't risk your money. You go in it thinking that's going to be profitable and that the $100 that you invested is going to 10 times itself. That's another thing as far as making money. We were trained to get paid by the hour. We got trained to get paid by the service or the project. But then that's limiting us to how much we can do. We can only work so many hours in the day. We can only do so many projects. Say for massage. Say you're a really good person and you're really good at doing massage, but how many can you do until you're physically very tired? We could probably only do 8 massages, okay? 8 massages a day, and you're going to end up very tired. We gotta learn to grow and scale that business without us having to be there present. There are so many ways to do that, where you can teach people how to do massages. You can write a book about massage. And I will do another whole video on that, on how you can expand your service and you can make your business without you having to actually doing the work yourself. That way you're not limited on the amount of product you sell or the service that you offer. There's no limit to it. And there are also ways of making money where you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do a service or sell a product to make money. So let's get rid of all these excuses. Let's learn how to manage our money so that we can get more, because that's what God wants. God gives you $100 or even $10. Say he gives you $10. He comes back and he's gonna tell you, hey, what did you do with your $10? And you say, oh, I don't know, I lost it or I buried it. It's under the mattress. And you go, do you think God is gonna give you more if you can't handle $10? He's like, you didn't do anything with it? Okay then. That's it for you. But if he comes back and you show him that was $10, you made him into $100 because you offered us something of value in exchange, he's gonna be proud of you and he's gonna give you more. Because how do you expect to handle $1 million if you can't handle $100? That's called money management, and that will be another video. But that's what you do. You start with $1. Turn it into 10, turn it into 100, 1,000, and you just 10 times it, and that's how it goes, step by step. But before you even start on the second step, you gotta start with your head. And because unless you change your mindset, get out of that poverty mindset all those things that were passed on to us and what we see in the news. We need to get out of that in order to get into the how rich people think and how rich people make their money. That's what you have to do, is transition out of that poverty mindset. Hope that works, and looking forward to that money management video. Bye.